yes. Q&A. Welcome to your paradise, the place you long for all your life. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri, representing in the house today for you. Let's go. Halo. Yes. Q&A. Yeah, welcome everybody. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri, in the house representing for UNA University and UNA Republic. Welcome, and let's do this. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri, where we help you find your social freedom, your financial freedom, and your spiritual freedom, which is most important. So let's do it, okay? Today's topic, ladies and gentlemen, is universal laws, debunking myths about universal laws and answering some questions. All right. So going into it today, I want to welcome everybody. Oh, you know what? I'm in here enjoying my session. I can't see my people on TikTok. 1 second. We's coming. Hold on. 1 second. I can't see my people on YouTube. Hold on. 1 second. That's what happens when you have too much time. You start dilly-dallying and you forget things. All right, so we are setting up. So forgive me. Okay, so we are broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, X, Twitter, Rumble. All right, so we want you all to catch us on there. What all of you all who are viewing to know, also you can find us on at UNA Republic on YouTube, where we keep an archive of all of our sessions. So make sure you find us there if you're wanting to get the full version of what we're doing. So I want to welcome everybody, and forgive me, I gotta see my folks. Want to welcome everybody on TikTok. Thank you for joining us. Let me see if I can do this. All right. And all my people on YouTube, welcome for joining us. X, Twitch, Rumble, thank you for joining us. All right, let me get myself together. All right, let's see. So my apparatuses. All right, so I hope everybody had a great week. I know I did. So I'm so glad to be here with you. Let me go into this now. Let's go into it. Don't forget that the book, Tapping Into Your Supernatural Powers, is out. So make sure you go find us at UNA Republic. Actually, UNAuniversity.com. You can get this on UNAuniversity.com. All right. Also, the beginner law book. Want to welcome everybody to that. Make sure you get that on UNAuniversity.com, because today we're going over some of these wonderful charts. You all know about the vibratory frequency chart. You all know about the societal totem pole. You know about the universal laws and the hierarchy of laws. We're going heavy into the hierarchy of laws and universal laws today so that we can understand what this is. Okay. Come on. One last thing, and then we're ready to get into it. Sorry about that. I just was ready, and then I wasn't ready. Okay. If you want to get your trust completed, please find us at unauniversity.com, and you can get so that you can sign up to get your membership trust package. Okay, the membership trust comes with all of your documents you need for your sovereignty. It comes with your allodial ID. All right, this has your spiritual name. It comes with your membership badge. All right, so we're welcoming you to get that. And for those of you who know the importance of having a trust, it is the most powerful tool that you can have in order to establish what belongs to you. So get your membership, get your trust, all right, get your, and everything you need. You can find us at unauniversity.com. All right, so let me try to tap into here and get what is needed so I can see everybody's response. All right, let's go. Let's go. All right, here we go. So I can tap in and I can see everybody talking. Now, I want to say this because some of my people get us from TikTok, and they've banned us on TikTok, or they shadow banned us, is what they call it, whereby they're not promoting our sessions out to our people. So that's why we send out emails. So if you get our email, please tap into that. You'll see our app coming up soon. You're also going to see that we will be live on UNA Republic as well, so you can always catch us there. So let me see who I got in the house. I am Miss Love. Yes, you are. Welcome. T Black. Welcome. User, welcome. User, welcome. And let's see. We're still up on TikTok. Okay, well, we kind of rolling. Okay, so let's get into this thing. Now, today's session is universal laws, debunking myths. Now, there's something going on. We already know there's a spiritual change. We've talked about that several times. But this week, I had several people to ask me this question. Or within the past week or so, 10 days, people will ask me, well, Diva, I had some stuff stolen from me, and I ain't never stole nothing from nobody. Now, where is this coming from, right? This is coming from the fact that we speak on when you put out an energy, it must come back. And if you're receiving an energy, it is because you put the energy out. So this leads us into universal laws. And one of the issues is that we have not been taught universal laws. You hear things all the time. Whatever goes around comes around. As is within, so is without. And you're hearing these things, you're not recognizing that these are laws. You hear people say, well, karma is a bee. Well, karma is not a bee. You're the bee. All right? Because what happens is that karma is a universal principle whereby if you put an energy out, it must come back. That's what karma deals with. That's what universal laws deal with. So the first thing I want to get into when we're discussing these laws is the hierarchy of laws. I need to go into this because I heard a comment being said by this preacher. And I've heard this comment before when we're talking about universal laws. They have no respect, these people in church, or, and I don't want to diss people. I don't want to be dissing people in church. But the problem is that people do not have an understanding of how this dimension works. And so in order to explain that and deal with these myths about universal laws, and it's really not even a myth, it's a misunderstanding. It's a lack of knowledge about how they work. So please pay attention because I'm going through this. I want to put this on the screen. Let me know when it's up. Because what I need to do is go into the hierarchy of laws. And I told y'all we got a new system, so it's not doing what I needed to do. But, we will get it squared away soon here. So we have the hierarchy of laws. And at the top, you'll see the first law is the universal laws. These may also be called cosmic laws. And let's understand what they deal with. They deal with whatever energy you put out must come back. That's the main principle, is dealing with energies. Whatever energy you put out, it must come back by law. And one of the things I have to explain about the universe is that the universe only seeks balance. That's it. The universe only seeks balance. She doesn't care about what your granddaddy lived. She doesn't care about your skin color, what your Y chromosome or X chromosome. She's not caring about how much money you make. Only thing the universe seeks is balance. And this is the problem, that people think that first of all, they're not even understanding energies, where they come from, how this dimension works. So please pay attention, because people have been asking me some questions because they think there are victims. And I'm going to say this again. I've said it several times, and I don't listen. I know I'm going to step on some toes. I want y'all to know I love you. All of you, I love you. But there are no victims. There are no victims. None. No, not the baby. I'm going to get into all of that. So when there is an energy coming to you, and then you say to me, well, somebody stole something from me, but I ain't never. I already know. Because I know universal laws and how the universe works. All right. So we're looking at the hierarchy of law here, and it's clear that the universal laws are on top. I need to go into this because natural laws deal with the nature and the ways of objects that show up in this third dimension. Objects and beings that show up in this third dimension. That's what nature deal with, or natural laws deal with. They also deal with the fact that we live in abundance. Nature says we live in abundance. So if you plant a seed, all right, nature's going to give you many back. But if you're not planting a seed, then you can't reap anything. If you don't sow, you can't reap. Like, so if you sow laziness and lackadaisical and failure to prepare for the future, if that's how you operate, and that's what your energies are, then the universe can't return to you. Or let me rephrase that. That's all the universe is going to return to you. All right. If you put nothing out, then you get nothing. And so the thing is, when you put a negative energy out, you get a negative energy back. Likewise, you put a positive energy out, you get a positive energy back. That's just how the universe works. She only seeks balance. And that's the natural laws. All they're going to do is reflect, for lack of a better term, because I don't want to say reflect, because that's the opposite. But what natural laws do, and I like to use the term mimic, but people don't understand that term, but they're just doing the exact same thing that the universal laws say. So when you get that understanding about nature and how it operates, then you're going to start to recognize how you need to start walking in this third dimension and get nature and the universe to work with you. Okay, I need to go into this, and then we're going to go into universal laws. Laws of maxim. Pay attention to what these are. They're also known as God's laws. These laws come straight out of the Bible, and they are the highest laws of the land. This is the land, not talking about the spiritual side, because the spiritual side is higher than all of this. As you can see, that's why it's at the top. But they are rights that are given to you by God to all beings and cannot be taken away by anyone. Now I need you to understand something, because I've heard people say, well, why is God's laws down here? Okay. When we're talking about universal laws, we're talking about cosmic laws, as I've said, and spiritual energies. All right. Basically, how the universe operates and things that most people don't see or know because we weren't taught these laws that we should have been taught. When we're talking about God's laws, we're talking about laws that come from the Bible that were set down by, in this case, whatever your God is. All right. If you read in the Bible, then that's what your God said. If it's the Quran, that's what your God said. Whatever your God, because it could be Buddha, and whatever book that they read from, that's the laws of maxim. Okay. And so the deal is that those laws pertain to, again, if it's you Buddha, you Buddhism, you Judaism over here, you Christianity, and you this, it doesn't matter, because when we're talking about those laws, when you go into a court of law, as long as you have recognized what your God said, then those laws are going to be respected. But if you never say, well, my God said this, well, then they're not going to respect anything your God said, because you never brought your God with you. You didn't take your God with you. So the deal is, what is a God? I want to touch on this a little bit today, but I've gone into it deeper. Now, I've seen gods on all kinds of levels, from a microscopic level to a macroscopic level to a third dimensional level. A God, according to what we see and what we have established, is a being that controls its third dimension with its energies. A God is a being that controls its third dimension with its energies. And when we're looking at these vessels, for example, and we talked about the different contracts within you, one coming from the mitochondria, one coming from whatever being created, the X and the Y chromosome, and the contracts that go with those. Whatever beings that created that will be considered a God. Now, I don't want to get into religion right now, because I get my religious Bible thumping people upset, and I need to be able to explain thoroughly. But let me just say this. All right. When we're talking about the Bible, let's go with the Bible in particular. You're talking about a set of entities. And if you haven't read, because I heard somebody say this, that, oh, if you start talking about that Anunnaki stuff, then you're talking about they anti-God, they anti-Christ. And this person clearly has not studied or read. That's why when you come in, let me back up so I can make this clear. For those of y'all who are new here, this is a channel for mature people. This is a channel for people who want to study for themselves. Don't believe a word I say. Go and look this information up for yourself. Okay, I'm not here to try to sway you one way or the other, because for me, I told you, I deal with universal laws, and universe doesn't care about what your religion is. She doesn't. She doesn't care about any of that. Judaism, Buddhism, Christianity, Muslim. She don't care. If you put an energy out, it's coming back to you regardless of what your religion is. Regardless of what your religion is, if you put an energy out, the universe is going to return that energy to you in full. All right? So when we're talking about the maxims of law, you're talking about the entity, in this case, that created the vessel. That's what these laws deal with. And that God, whatever entity that you say created your vessel, set down a set of laws that cannot be taken away from you. Some of those laws include the right not to contract, meaning nobody can force you into a contract. Now, if you know what your God said, and most gods will say this, nobody has the right to force you into a contract. It doesn't matter whether you're Buddhism, Christian, Muslim, all the gods and all those books said you can't force somebody into a contract. It says you have a right to bear arms. You got a right to protect yourself. You got a right to create money. You got a right to travel this planet without governmental documentation. Low-key welcome. Okay? So what we're now recognizing is When we're talking about the laws of maxim, these come from the Bible. But when we're talking about the universal laws, well, what is the universe? Now, let's get into that. As I talked about what a God is. Whatever entity created the Bible, whatever entity created the vessel. But let me say this: you too are a God. Yeah. Before I move on, let me restate that because somebody's not getting it. You too are a God. And when we get into these universal laws, you're going to understand why you too are a God. Again, what is a God? An entity that has the ability to create whatever is showing up in its own the third dimension. An entity has the ability that, let me make sure I'm saying this properly. Ooh, welcome everybody in YouTube. But basically, it's an entity that has the ability to control its third dimension with its energies. And that's exactly what each and every last one of you have been doing. You have been controlling your third dimension with your energies, but you didn't know that you were God. And so you've been spraying energies all across this planet, not recognizing that you are a God. And so now when I present these universal laws to you, now you need to become accountable for your energies so that now you can create the third dimension that you care to see. Again, see, this is why I know when somebody tells me somebody stole from them, I know what they did. And it's only because I know law. And if you pay attention, you're going to be able to see too. Knowing these laws gives you a different and a higher vision. Okay, most people don't have this vision because they don't have these laws. I want to go into this real quick and then I'm going to move in. I talk about Hiram Abiff, who was the architect in Solomon's temple. All right. See, Solomon, you remember Solomon was the ruler over the Israelites before they got pillaged by the Assyrians. Okay, so follow me now. Follow me. Some of y'all like, what's she talking about? That's why you need to read the Bible. I'm not, listen, this is not a religious channel, but there's a lot of truth in the Bible. There's a lot of lies too. All right, I just tell it like it is. But this is why we go deeper. I'll tell you, read the book of Jasher. Read the book of Enoch. Read the book of Enki. Those are some really good books to read when you're really wanting to understand what's going on in this third dimension. Okay, so now you understand you're God. You're understanding that it is your energies that is creating your third dimension. I needed to preface all that so that when we get into universal laws and then I start explaining to you about what I can see when you speak to me, then you'll understand why. Okay, these laws are very simple. People try to complicate them and make it seem like, well, sometimes when you black, people steal from you. And then when you not black, then you get everything that you need because that's just how unfair. No, ma'am. No, sir. There are no victims. And when you understand that you're a God, then you can come up out of victimhood and start getting everything that you vision. Everything that you vision. When you are living in, look, going back to natural law. Put it up on the screen for me, Savvy. Okay, it's up. Going back to natural law. When you live in abundance and you know you live in abundance, you understand how these laws work. What happens is that everything you start visioning, it comes to you. All right. And we get ready to get into the universal law so you can fully understand why the things start coming to you and why you've been getting what you're getting. Okay. So going into universal laws, let's go. By the way, these laws you can get in our beginner law book. If you don't have it, find it at unauniversity.com, the beginner law book, so that you can understand or get your copy of all of these charts that come with the book. Okay, so looking at the universal laws. And I won't go through each one of these. I want to take specific cases that people have brought to me, and I want to make sure we're recognizing what's going on when these things happen, and why I'm saying to you, no, you're not a victim. All right. So as I was saying, in the past 10 days, I've had at least 3 people who say, somebody stole something from me and I ain't never stole nothing. So what you're telling me is that the universe is a lie. And I know the universe doesn't lie. People lie. People open their mouth and they say things, especially when you say to me, I ain't never stole nothing in my life. Then I know you're lying. People steal by mistake and don't even recognize shoot, I left that office with this pen. You just stole something. Maybe it wasn't on purpose, but you took something. So pay attention to what I'm saying. Okay. So a few people have written to me and said that somebody stole something. Now, going back to the universal laws, the hierarchy of laws. When I deal with the hierarchy of laws, as a matter of fact, let me pull it up since it's on the screen. Okay. We talked about God's laws right here. Right here now, and let me zoom in. Right underneath God's laws, we have maxims of law. God's laws, we have sovereigns. All right. So let's understand what sovereign is. A being that is master of self, operates under God's laws, has the ability to create laws and constitutions for itself and corporations that it creates. Okay, so now what we're understanding is that a sovereign is a master of self. And what that means is that you don't have to be governed. If you're standing under God and everything that you're doing is righteous, you don't have to be governed. You don't have to worry about somebody stealing from you, because when we go into these universal laws, you're going to understand why somebody would end up stealing from you. So here we got a situation, okay, where we're recognizing if we want to be sovereign and we want to keep energies from coming on us, then we have to respect universal laws. If you don't want to see somebody stealing from you, then make sure you don't steal from somebody else. That is just the law. It is that simple. People try to make it out to be, people be stealing stuff out here. And then I say, yeah, what, you stole something? Well, I used to, I know. You already told me. I can't tell you how many people have come to me, and that's why I say let's have this discussion. Every time somebody in my comment section talking about, well, Diva, I ain't never stolen that. Well, then let's have this discussion. Send me an email, and I leave the email address, and never do they have the discussion, because every time we have this discussion, then we can find out exactly who it is you stole from. All right. So it's important. This is going back to being accountable for your own energies. That starts with the universal laws. Okay, let me go into this. Let me go. Okay. So getting back to this, someone says to me that someone they had some things stolen or what have you, and then immediately after that, they want to tell me they didn't steal, which I know is not true. I don't want to call you a lie, but you're not going to tell me the universe is a lie. That's what you're saying. So I had somebody the other day, they were saying that, telling me about how they were. And what I find is when people doing things to other people, they're not recognizing it's always somebody close to them, they're doing it. So what happens is he likely has a sibling or a mother or somebody that he's taking things from, and he doesn't see it as stealing. He doesn't see it as disrespect when, I just took it from mom and dad, it wasn't no big deal. They my mom and dad. But your mom and dad feel like you stealing, son. They think you a thief. And at the time, you just think, oh, it doesn't mean anything. But when you steal from them, you have created an energy. And then what happens is, by law, the universe has to send that energy back to you. I need to go into what I spoke about last week so we can be clear on some things. When somebody gives you an energy, they are only returning what you put out. So they can't give you anything but what you put out. Okay, so let me take some scissors, make sure everybody's tracking on that. All right. If you're receiving an energy, it's because you put it out. Okay, law of compensation. Let me zoom in. Law of compensation. All energies, positive and negative, that we put out into the universe are returned to us many times over. Multiply the return on your positive investment of energy. So if you're saying to me that an energy came upon you, in this case, we're talking about stealing, then what you've said to me is that you have stolen. And one of the problems people have is being accountable. They just want to be stuck in their emotions and feel like they are a victim. And so I need to read laws number 4 and 5 so that we are clear. Law of correspondence. We are the sole creators of energies within our life. There are no victims. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Be positive and reflect positivity. Number 5, law of cause and effect. Nothing is happenstance. Every energy that we put out into the universe must be returned to us. We reap what we sow positivity. So going back to number 4, if you see in there, there are no victims. There are no victims. And number 5, nothing is happenstance. So if you're getting a return of energy, it is not because you just a victim. It is because you put that energy out. Okay? So now, let's understand, and we're going to go into accountability and how we clean up spiritual baggage, because we went over that last week, but I do want to touch on that today. But let's understand that when somebody is saying these things, I get people saying this all the time, and they're just not respecting or understanding how energies work. I'm going to give you an example of, I've had several people who live in states and they go, well, these people up here, they prejudiced, they racist. They racist, which really is the term is prejudice, but they'll use the term racist, but they mean prejudice. They don't like black people up here, And so I had this woman in particular, and she was going on about, how this is Boston and Boston is racist. Okay. She goes on to tell me about how somebody called her the N-word. Yeah, I was walking and then this boy called me the N-word. And I, raised my eyebrow, but I know it was her energy. And I didn't have anything to say. I was like, okay. And then as we continue the conversation, she tells me it happened a second time. Oh, that's you. I mean, I knew it was you the first time, but the second time, no, that's you. Oh, but no, not me. I would never be. I don't put that kind of in. And truly, this person, she is seeming like a sweet person. She was seemingly a sweet person. But as we continued in the conversation, she told me about how she has a neighbor, and her neighbor is mixed. And she goes on to tell me, yeah, I got a neighbor, and I call her half breed, and because we mixed, or she's mixed. And I said, you call her what? I call her half breed. And then she went on to tell me, well, she don't like it. She don't like when I call her. But I told her, shoot, I'm half-breed too. My mama white, your mama black, and my mom, your dad white, and my mama. So it don't matter. We both half-breeds, and ain't, so I just call her half-breed. And she's told you several times that she doesn't like it, but you continue to call her half-breed. And then you don't understand why you walking down the street and you get somebody calling you the N-word. You're not respecting or being accountable for the energies that you put out. You just think you're a victim. These people, racist up here, but they are only a reflection of you. Let me make sure I'm not getting feedback. All right. So when you're telling me about how somebody is racist and you're getting these energies, you're telling me about what you did, because you are only going to get a return of what you put out. Here we go. Law of attraction. Put this on the screen. Law of attraction says our thoughts, emotions, words, and actions attract the things, events, and people that enter our lives. Your physical world is a reflection of your thoughts. Reflect positivity. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. So if you are attracting so-called racist or prejudiced people to you, that means you are racist and prejudiced. Period and point blank. But y'all want to make it, no, because these people racist, they known for being racist. Meanwhile, we turn around and you calling this woman half-breed, and then you want to get upset because somebody called you the N-word. That's the universe returning an energy to you. Let's be clear about this, because the universe knows your frequency and how to make you feel the energy that you put out. The universe knows. So I need to get back to this. Hold on. Let me finish up here, because there's so many things I want to tell you and say. Bottom line is, she was not being accountable for what she did. So now when she's getting these energies, it's showing up like, oh, it's these white people out here. You know how they call what they call white people? Albions. You know what they call albions? But the truth is, they were only reflecting you, ma'am. All right. I need to finish up what I was saying about Hiram Abiff. Okay. Hiram Abiff was the architect for the Solomon Temple. Thank you, Savvy. Hiram Abiff was the architect for the Solomon Temple in Israel. Okay. And what ended up happening was Hiram Abiff had this knowledge, and he was killed because people wanted that knowledge. The same knowledge I'm giving you right here, right now. It's called the widow's elixir. The knowledge about eternal life. The knowledge about standing as a God. The information I'm giving you right here, right now. They wanted it. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because when we talk about the widow's elixir, and I was showing you guys last week about how I'm trying to get this information from artificial or AI, and AI is blocking this information. I'm trying to find out, where did he get this from? Well, he got it from his own self. He discovered it because he was just that intelligent. Meanwhile, I'm having to guide AI because I already know the answer. I know where he got it from. He got it from his mama. That's what the reason why I'm looking for the term is called Mason. All the Mason comes from Ma, meaning mother, and son, meaning offspring of the mother. This is where the woman started to teach her son the esoteric knowledge of what's going on in this dimension, because it all belonged to her originally. Everything comes from the woman. I get it. I know it's upsetting, brothers. Okay, check it out. Keep watching. So we're talking about Masons, the original, not the Freemasons, because that's a different story. I'm not going into that today. But when we're talking about Masonry and the original Mason, that was where the woman was teaching her son the esoteric knowledge. And then I asked AI, I'm saying, well, why is it called the widow's elixir? Then it goes on to speak about Isis and who she married, her brother. And what I'm trying to get to you is she married her brother because she had all the wealth, the knowledge, the land, everything was hers. She married him to keep the wealth in the family. That's why she married him. Okay. And what you got to understand when we start talking about religion is the fact that religion is a patriarchal construct. I don't care if you're talking about Judaism, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, all of them, and let's understand they all come from males, the melanated male. People want to be mad at the Albion and be blaming him for everything, but let's understand, he didn't create religion, not your original religions, the biggest religions, those come from melanated men, whereby they were subjugating the woman. Let's be clear on that. They took her scriptures and wrote her out of her scriptures. But my point I'm making on all of this is that we've got to recognize, who we are and where we came from, brothers and sisters. And you're not going to get it if you use an artificial to try to help you understand this stuff. And if you're stuck in religion, it is not going to give you the truth about what's going on in this universe, because your preacher took an oath to keep the truth from you. If you had known these laws, universal laws, hierarchy of laws, vibratory frequency, if you had known this as a child, then they couldn't keep you enslaved. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. And when you keep going against these laws that they never taught you, these higher laws, then you keep spraying energies and thinking you are a victim. And they tell you, it's not your fault. You didn't do it. It's okay. No, it ain't. Meanwhile, somebody like me comes along and you want to be upset with me because I'm telling you what the facts are. I'm trying to help you with seeing the widow's elixir that people would kill for. This information right here that they have bent over backwards to hide from you. It's all in your face. All of these universal laws, put them on the screen. All of these universal laws right here. They're all throughout the Bible. They're sprinkled here, sprinkled there. They don't tell you the whole truth. They don't tell you how to clean up spiritual baggage. They're sprinkled it. They're going to tell you, forgive us our debts as forgive us our debt. Or they don't tell you what that really means and why you would use it. They don't tell you why this man is going into a black box with a priest and bless me, Father, for I have sinned. You're not understanding what that is about. Again, it's dealing with cleaning up spiritual baggage. And if you're not understanding that when you put an energy out, you have created spiritual baggage, then you're going to keep spraying energies all over this planet and not understand why you're getting what's showing up in your third dimension. Okay, I'm going to move on. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. So I've given you two examples. One person talking about somebody stole from them. And again, if anybody is in the comment section today and you think you're a victim, put it in the comment section. I'm going to see if I can bring you up. If I can't bring you up, we're going to talk today. Let's talk about it. You think you're a victim. So one person who thinks somebody stole from them and they're a victim, and they refuse to see what energies they put out, and they want to believe that they never did it. I get it every time. I ain't never did nothing. And then we sit down and start talking, and they like, oh, you know, I did do this, and I did do that. Okay, yeah, I already know. 2, somebody who swore everybody in the state is racist and hates them for the color of their skin. Meanwhile, they're being disrespectful to somebody else concerning their skin color. The third one I want to go into. Bullies. I'm gonna go into bullies. There's another one I want to go into as well, but I want to go into bullies because somebody asked me the question about, is a bully going to just return an energy? They just return an energy. So if I get bullied, is that just me receiving an energy? All right. Yes. So let's understand what a bully is, and let's understand who's receiving the energy. When we're talking about a bully, the vast majority of the cases, and I mean vast, like 99.999% of the cases, that is somebody who is getting mistreated at home by a parent, a sibling. All right. So they're returning energy. They're looking to return an energy that has been put on them. They can't give it to their mama. They can't give it to their daddy. They can't give it to their big brother, big sister. But they can give it to somebody. And whoever they give it to is somebody who is supposed to receive it. Pay attention. So you got your bully over here who's being mistreated at home. And they got their own set of issues over here. Then we got somebody who's receiving over here. Now, this is the quote unquote victim. The child is being bullied. And what I've seen with these so-called victims is that they got a sibling at home that they being disrespectful to, or somebody who they have bullied. No, I don't think it worked. I've seen it too many times. I've had clients and students whose children, they say, well, my child is getting picked on. And how's your child at home? Well, you know, he be beating up his little sister and his little brother, and I have to get on their case all the time. Yeah, well, it starts at home. Same thing with the bully. It starts at home. He got issues at home. And this one over here that's getting bullied, they got issues, things that they're doing and putting out. It's not happenstance. That child ain't a victim in all these bully laws and is this child being bullied? No. Let me tell you something. You can't come to me with that. Okay? You can't. Hold on. Put this back up on the screen. Okay. Number 4, law of correspondence. We are the sole creators of energies in our life. There are no victims. If you're getting an energy, it's because you put it out every time, and I mean every time. Going to number 5, nothing is happenstance. Nothing. Every energy that we put into the universe must be returned to us. You are a God. You are creating your third dimension. Somebody didn't tell you. So what has happened is you, a God, running around here acting like you a victim, spraying out energies and not recognizing. The problem is you. Check self. And in each one of those cases where I talked about the bully and the victim of the bully, they're on the same vibratory frequency. Pay attention now. They're on the same vibratory frequency. If this child stops being at home, beating up on the sister and the little brother, and this child over here, let's just start with this one. Let's start with this one. The one who is the so-called victim of the bully. When they stop beating up on their sister or their little brother or whatever, they stop doing whatever they're doing at home, this bully can't find them. He can't. It don't matter. He could be the biggest, worst bully on the planet. This bully cannot find this child. If you're showing me a child that's getting bullied, you're showing me an unrighteous child. Not my baby. My baby, when your baby be beating the hell out his little sister. Why you not being honest about that? That's the problem. So when I get parents who are willing to be honest and be cognizant about what's really going on, what that child doing at home? When that child stops doing what it's doing, I don't care what this bully want to do. It can't touch that child. You know what's going to happen? When this child straightens up, this bully got to go away. It doesn't matter whether it could be it disappear when he changed schools. He disappeared because he disappeared. He disappeared because he gets in what they call that, in school suspension. Whatever it is, whatever it is. When this child gets straight, this bully has got to disappear. Just like that. See, y'all want to act like it's no, but we got to pass some laws. Y'all dealing with man's laws. Start dealing with the universal laws. Man's laws won't even be needed. This is what I mean when I say you have to be accountable. And we have not been being accountable for the energies we've been putting out. We want to act like we're victims. But when you're sovereign and you are a master of self, and you're righteous, you put out the right energies, then the only thing is going to show up is who you are. So once again, what shows up in your third dimension is not what you want to see, but who you are. And all of these people who are showing up in your third dimension, they are only your reflection. That's it, nothing more. So getting back to that child that's being bullied and that bully, they are on the same vibratory frequency. But the minute this child raises its frequency, this one can't find it. It's going to disappear one way or the other. You don't have to put out a law on it. You don't have to fight. You don't have to have no in-school suspension meeting. None of that. Just change your vibratory frequency, and this being will not be able to find this one. Meanwhile, if you in a school working with a child who is a bully, this child got problems at home. Know that for certain. It's not just acting out just because. Well, some people just, and this, listen, let me tell you something. I'm giving you the information, okay? Don't believe me. Just try it. Try it out. But some people will be saying, well, some children just bad. That's not how energies work. If you got a child that's in a school and is doing these kind of things, it's reflecting what's going on in its home environment, male or female. So now that you know that, if you want to help, then you think about what's really going on with that child, okay? That it is what it is. I want to take some questions. Welcome, Positivity. I like it. Yes, you are, Positivity 100. Welcome, y'all. Let me see. I got some comments and questions here. I do want to take a moment because y'all are very active over here. So let me answer these questions. Eric says, are you a Moor? Absolutely not. I do not subscribe to that title. Thank you for asking. Who else? Let's see. Prosper, welcome. Glad to see you. Tell her to show her book written by Diva Lyri. Day. Yeah, so somebody asked me about my name, and I think I've explained this before. So yeah, my last name, D-E-Y, that comes from My family name was D-A-Y. So when I first got into finding my sovereignty, one of the first things I found was this document called The Heirs of Henry Turner versus the United States. So this was a misrepresentation. What I saw was a misrepresentation, and I hadn't read that full contract like I have now. So in that contract, or that legal documentation, it said that the original people of the land would have the titles Bey, Day, El, Ali, and I think it's Muhammad. But those were there were 5 titles. And so when I went to change my, now kind of find out that's not true, that those were not the original people of the land, because there's some stuff going on. I'm not getting into that in this session. But so when I got into this, my whole thing was, okay, let me take control of my sovereignty. And so I took that name, but my last name, my family name is D-A-Y. And so I took the name D-E-Y as my spiritual name. All right. And so since then, I've traced my lineage. I've recognized that we got to make some changes. And eventually we're going to make some changes. But I've been going with this name for a while. And so eventually you'll see it change. But thank you for asking. That's where the name comes from. But no, I'm not a Moor. I'm the original people of this land and this planet. Thank you, Eric. Then does it end if one does a thing and pays for it, then another does it and pays for it? Are those who the payback in higher standing? Yes. That's Crow. Let me read that again. Then does it end if one does a thing and pays for it, then another does it and pays for it, and those who do the payback in higher standing? I don't understand that last part, but let me say this, because what Crow is talking about now is, put this on the screen, Savvy. So what Crow is talking about is the law of a perpetual transmutation of energy. So pay attention to how this works, okay? If you put out an energy, so let's say somebody, you hit somebody, all right? You're gonna get hit, and it might be 10 times harder than what you hit that first person, all right? And when they hit you, if you retaliate, you're gonna get hit again, and then they are also going to get a return of the energy for hitting you. Okay, so let me say this again. You put out an energy where you hit somebody. Somebody hit you. They get ready to get a return of that energy. And if you hit them back, you're going to get a return of that energy. All right, what that's called is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. It says, as spiritual beings, we have the power to vibrate on a higher level and enhance our lives by generating positive thoughts and partaking in positive actions. That's what the law of perpetual transmutation is. And when you are delivering an energy, you need to be cognizant that even if you feel like you justified in delivering that energy, the universe does not care. The universe doesn't care. If you put it out for whatever reason, it's got to come back to you. That's dealing with the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. This is why, and I'm going to go into this later, there's that prayer. It says, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors or our trespassers. Forgive us our debts. Forgive us our debts as we forgive those who trespass against us. All right. Why is that prayer there? Because if you don't forgive, you're going to land in this law that's called the perpetual transmutation of energy. Meaning it's just going to keep cycling and you're going to be in a downward spiral if all you're putting out is negativity. So this is when I talked about last week, being accountable. Being accountable for your energies. So if you hit someone, be accountable. Recognize, remember, oh, I hit, wait a minute, because when somebody returns it, it's coming back. And when they return it, you don't want to put it back out on them. You need to stand down like, oh, wait a minute, I know. Because if you don't, you're going to end up spiraling. That's what they call that family feud thing. First of all, you don't even put the energy out. So if you know that you don't want it coming on you, don't put it out for no reason. And if it does come on you and you didn't realize you put it out, then be accountable. Recognize that this person who's showing up to deliver this energy is only reflecting you and what you did at another time. Recognize that. That's what we're talking about when we say being accountable. Because I get it. We want to lash back out. That's that turn the other cheek thing. I get it. Well, I ain't turning the other cheek. I get it. But you wouldn't have to turn the other cheek if you didn't put it out in the first place. I'm going to say this again for the people in the back of the room. You wouldn't have to turn the other cheek if you didn't put that energy out in the first place. So the least you could do when you see it coming or when it comes back on you, to have a sense of maturity on a spiritual level to where you can say, okay, this person is reflecting me, or they are a reflection of me and what I put out. Where did I put this energy out? And you got to be able to forgive them, because you got to be willing to ask for forgiveness when you did it. So if you're going to ask for forgiveness, then you have to be willing to forgive. This is how you clean up spiritual baggage. This is why that guy is going into the dark booth in the Catholic place with the, all right, this is why there's the prayer, forgive us our debts and forgive our trespassers who trespass against us. All of that is about cleaning up spiritual baggage. It's in religion, but religion has failed to really give you the true spiritual undertone of everything going on in this dimension. I'm giving it to you. Okay. So I hope I answered your question, Ghost. We are the Moors, but have different tribal. Okay, Eric, well, be a Moor. I got no issue with that, but I'm not. By the way, we are Moors and so-called whites are Romans. Okay, don't come in here with all that black, white stuff. We're not here for that. All of us are not Moors. I'm not a Moor, as I said. Thank you, Prosper. Solomon, soul of man. Yep. Thank you, Eric. We are all stars manifested in flesh, having a life experience. Thank you, Eric. I agree with that. Copper God is welcome. Thank y'all for the love too. I really do appreciate it. Crow says, no way, my inner world is so amazing. This place is funny. I came here with much higher intentions than what I was hit with. I'm not sure what that means. Are mortgage agreements fraud? Banks are not to loan money, the promissory notes. All right, Kelly. So we're going to go in on this, because I get a lot of students that come to me about the mortgage loans. This all goes back. This all goes back to being accountable for your energies. All right. Pay attention. Pay attention, because y'all going to be upset with me. But I'm just telling you the truth. Again, it is important that we all are accountable for our own energies. So, is mortgage whatever? Yes. Fraud? Yes, it is. There's a lot of fraud going on in this dimension. Okay. But also, there's a lot of a lack of responsibility going on in this dimension too with each of us. So let me help you understand what I'm saying. Everybody knows this phrase, your word is your bond. Your word is your bond. I need to go back to this. Put this on the screen. Put this on the screen, Savvy. So, here we go. We're on the hierarchy of laws right now. And I'm going down here to contract law. Underneath sovereign, we have contract law. And what we have to recognize with contract law is that when we sign something, we have said our word is our bond. So if you go and sign a contract and you say, I'm going to pay you this much money. I promise to pay you this much money. And then you don't pay it, then you're in dishonor. You didn't honor your word. So when I look at somebody's credit report and it's got repo, bankruptcy, foreclosure, it's telling me that you are not honorable. But you know, sometimes people, you know, these people out here, they be stealing and stuff, they be lying. Did you sign your name and say, I promise to make this payment? And then I go and look at your credit score and I see all these things, these negative things on your credit, and you want to tell me it's the system. But the truth is, you are telling me with your credit score that you haven't been honorable. I know I'm stepping on some toes right now, because I'm going to tell you right now, y'all want to act like it's money. Money is not the issue. Spiritual essence, that's the issue. Because when you get that in order, your credit report going to be so high. People going to come after you. Please take this money. We want you to. Why? Because you're honorable. That's what happened to my students. Money just come to my students because they're honorable. But when you out here like, you know, these people, and I want to get my money back, and you don't understand that everything has to do with who you are as a spiritual entity. That credit report, that traffic report, that criminal report, all of those are connected to you on a spiritual level. And so if you just out here being a victim and you feel like you want to get over on everybody because everybody got over on me, then your credit report is going to look like it looks. Your criminal report is going to look like it looks. Like you don't handle business, like you're not sovereign, like you don't know how to contract. So let's talk about this mortgage that you get. And so I show my students how you can fight, because you can. You signed your name on that contract, say, I promise to pay you $2,000 a month. Then your word is your bond. Yeah, that was fraud. So what you can do now, after you don't put your word down as your bond, because that's on record that you said you were going to pay, now you can fight it. And there's a legal way to fight it. And we show you how to fight it using, your administrative process, because that's where everything starts anyway, in the private. Okay. But what's going to happen in the meantime is they're going to wreck your credit. So now you're stuck, you're kind of stranded, you can't go out and do other stuff because you haven't been accountable. You haven't been contracting like a sovereign. And then you're going to be stressed because they're going to send you that note, that mortgage notice. Even when you in court, they're going to send that to you every month. And every time you get it, sometimes every week. And every time you get it, it's going to stress you out. And you're going to be in court for 2 years at least trying to fight this case. Stressed out, jacked up credit, gray hairs. Meanwhile, my students, every penny they put out, they're getting back at least ×2. And then my good students, the ones who really apply the knowledge, they're getting that back tenfold at least. That's what happens with my students, because they know how to use the universal laws. So if you've gotten yourself in a contract, there's 2 things you can do. Now there's several options, but the main 2, one is fight jack up your credit and your health. 2 is be honorable. And we know how to flip the script on any and every contract these people put out. Even when they're trying to be fraudulent. Be fraudulent. Because we know the game. We know the game. We're going to flip the script. And when we finish, not only will it be paid off, credit be high, you're going to be happy, and then you're getting way more than what you expected to get from this process. We flip the script. That's what we do here. Thank you for your question. Homeowners is in big trouble, money missing, false statements. Okay, court. So a man thinketh. Thank you, L. So as a being thinketh, so shall their third dimension showeth. So if I see your third dimension looking like all kind of craziness and drama and whatever, then I know what's in your mind, because your third dimension is a reflection of you. Your car, your house, your wife, your job, all of that is a reflection of, well, it just happened. I don't know. It happened because you thought it. Everything that's showing up in your third dimension is what's in your mind. Crow says, I'm never disrespectful about skin color. There's nothing we can do about the mixtures we have here. I'm not sure what that is, but if you're telling me somebody said something to you and you didn't do anything, the universe is saying different. That's what I just said like that. Yeah, Crow, I'd be glad to have an open and honest, because, again, when you say things, I need you to understand, I'm not just being light when I say I'm a civil and an oracle. A civil and an oracle. So when you're talking to me, I already know. So I have to tell people when they come to me and start talking, like, look, talk to me like, I know, because I know. Okay, you can't tell me one thing and then not expect me to not know. I know who you are when you're walking up to me and I'm looking at you. Your whole vessel is a contract, and it's speaking all kind of laws. Every time you speak, then you speak more laws. You're telling me what's in your head. I know. So when you're talking to me, talk to me like I know. Don't tell me about how, well, I can't tell you how many people have said that. And then when we start talking, they're like, well, I did do this. It happens every time. So yeah, Crow, let's have this conversation. I put this lasso around you, and then you start talking like you got that Wonder Woman rope around you. Yeah, let's go. Kelly says, I am not a victim. I choose to learn what was hidden. The truth comes to light. We have been victims, and we have to learn to stand as one family to protect others. Thank you, Kelly. But here's the deal, right? People try to protect others, but every spiritual entity walking this, they protect themselves by being accountable in these laws that these so-called preachers have failed to give us. We should have known. Hold on, going back to the universal laws. When people say ignorance of the law is no excuse, I always say this, but they're talking about the universal laws. Put this on the screen, Savvy. They're talking about the universal laws. And if you're ignorant of these laws and you keep running around here spraying out energies across this planet, then you're going to stay in a victim mode. So, and I'm going to go into another example that somebody asked me about, okay? So what happens, Kelly, is that everybody must be accountable for their own spiritual salvation. You can't protect people who are putting out energy. So for example, if somebody goes out and hurts somebody else, You can't just protect them like, oh, I'm gonna hide them so nobody can find them, and I'm gonna whatever you feel like you want to do. But let's say you say, okay, I'm gonna hide them so nobody. You know what's gonna happen if they've harmed somebody? Please understand, they're gonna do the same thing to you. That person who did the harm must be accountable for what they did, and if you don't hold them accountable, the energy is going to come back on you. So when I say hold them accountable, I mean, for example, let's say somebody harmed somebody, and then here comes the system, because now the system gets involved because this person is not acting in their right mind. They don't have any respect for the laws. They don't have respect for other people or other people's property. They just are in an ill-minded state. So the system got to step in. That's why the systems show up. I talked about how systems show up and why. So you got this person who has harmed somebody, the system comes in, and then you want to hide them. And let's understand what happens when you do that. First of all, that system is not happenstance, meaning the po and the whoever, I don't even know who they are over there, but they show up because this person has done an ill crime. All of these systems show up because we haven't been acting like sovereigns. Thank you, Savvy. The system shows up when you don't act like a sovereign. So what does that mean? Credit reports show up because you're not accountable. So if everybody was to pay back what they owed, we don't need a credit report because we already know you're gonna pay it back. So no need for the credit report. There's no need for a criminal report. No need for a driving report because all these people act in their right mind. But you got somebody who's hurt somebody, and you feel like you want to step in and hide them because they your loved one. And I love my son. I love my daughter. I'm gonna hide them. Okay, you have blocked the universe from acting. And be clear now. I'm gonna give you another example. When you try to step in that manner, and you know your child has harmed somebody, you have blocked the universe from doing what the universe does to return energies. So please understand, you're ready to get an energy on you too. And that person will get a return of energy on them that's probably going to be even greater than it would if you just let them go to prison. I'm going to give you another example. I have people who come to me, one in particular, drunk driver. You know, I got arrested for drunk driving, Diva, and I was just sitting in the car. I wasn't even driving. And then the cop, he said, he put me under arrest and they charged me, so I want to get off. Now, when I took this happened twice. The first one, my whole thing was, listen, did you hit anybody? Did you hurt anybody? He was like, no, I didn't. Okay, so I said, listen, there's a spiritual component to this, to me helping you. And I need to make sure you are honorable in what you're doing, because you need to know that the universe got you that ticket to keep you from killing other people. You out here driving and you say, oh, well, I was just sitting behind. Good. Congratulations. You didn't hurt anybody. But are you accountable is my question. Meaning, do you have the discipline enough to not get behind the wheel when you have been drinking? Because if I help you get off on this case and you go out and you kill somebody because you've been drinking and driving, there will be a ramification on Diva Lyri. The universe showed up to help to hit you with this case, however financially much you got to pay, because of the simple fact that you're doing things that are irresponsible. So if I step in, Diva Lyri to rescue, and then I get you off because you didn't really commit a crime. You didn't. But if I step in and let's say I help you become sovereign, Once you get, because the only way I can help you is if you're sovereign. But once you get off from under the U.S. corporation and you are not acting in your right mind still, well, you're going to pay a heavier penalty than you would have if I had just left you alone. All right? So it's not just about, oh, well, you know, the cops are picking on us. They show up for a reason. If we're not acting in our right mind and our right energy, which a lot of us don't, because we think we victims, or we think we can just get away with doing whatever we want to do because we ain't under the system no more. Okay, another system is going to show up, and trust me, it's going to be worse than the one you're trying to escape from right now. You have to be in your right mind. Let me see if I have any more questions or comments, and I'm going to get on this last one, and then we're going to get out of here. I move towards things that make me more skilled. It's not karma, it's karma on me, just a challenging game. Okay, Crow. Crow says, I just figured out the energy I'm getting back. I got it. Now, let me say, I love that. You know what I'm saying? Because when you sit down and you start reflecting about who you gave the energy to, then it becomes clearer to you what's going on in this dimension, and that you truly are the God that's creating everything in your third dimension. All right. So Crow just says, oh, I got it. I had another student to do the same thing a couple of days when, you know, about this whole thing about, oh, somebody stole something. Yeah, you stole something from somebody else. Sit down and figure it out. Okay. Because let me say this too. I talked last week and I said, when I had this energy come upon me and it upset me, right? I had to write down how it made me feel. I had to take the person out because they were just a reflection. They really don't even exist. They were just put in my way so that they can put this energy on me that I put on somebody else. Okay. So once I was able to come out of my emotions and I had to sit down and write, I had to push whatever was done out of the way, and I had to think about how it made me feel only. Just how did that make me feel? It ain't about, well, this person do this all the time, and this person name is this. No. I had to think about how it made me feel, because however that made me feel, I know that I made somebody else feel that exact same way. So whenever I have somebody coming to me and they're telling me about, oh, well, you know, this happened and this happened, and I ain't like that, and you can ask anybody. I don't need to ask anybody. I'm here, sitting here talking to you. You telling me everything I need to know. Whenever they're in that, I have to bring them out of that emotion, and we got to get to the point of, okay, how did it make you feel? And you wouldn't believe, you probably would, because you're going to have a hard time thinking about how it made you feel too. But you wouldn't believe how difficult it is for people to just say, well, it made me feel this, this, and this. I don't want to hear about that person. I don't want to hear about, because see, in my life, and when I was a child, stop, back up. How did it make you feel? It made me feel sad. I was disappointed. I was angry. I was unhappy. I felt disrespected. All of those things, how it made you feel, that's exactly how you made somebody else feel. So when you are willing to be accountable for that and recognize, let me go back and apologize to this person. All this stuff over here is going to clear up. Because you got to clear up the spiritual baggage. When you clear up the spiritual baggage on this side, everything over here just disappears. All right? This is the money I'm showing you now. Because y'all be wondering, well, how I signed this deal, how I get. If you don't get this part, the other part is not going to come to you. You're not even going to be able to see that. All right? Let me get through these questions, and I'm going to do this one last topic that's big. No one knows me. You surprised me. I'm cloaked. If you don't get that, my energy makes people uncomfortable, and that's all it's reflecting. Okay. Mason James means my son, ma for mother. son for offspring of the mother. I just want to make that clear because that's incorrect as it's put in that thing. Thank you, proper station. My son. You're right, drinking and drinking. All right, so now Kelly says, I agree. I had to put my son in jail for doing wrong. I had to walk away from my son for bad frequency towards me. I used UCC to fight, so I am headed in the right direction. Thank you, Kelly. And that goes into, men and being accountable for, what we bring into this dimension. We got to be accountable for everything. What if you put comments of truth on social media that might hurt others, but not intentionally? Cosmics, that is a great question. And I need you to understand something. And, I go through that. I say things here that'll make people want to go play in traffic. And I said that before. And it is not my intent to upset or hurt anyone. My intent is to tell the facts. The facts. You can get the truth from the facts, okay? Whatever your truth is, because that's how people do that. They hear the facts and then they want to, well, my truth is, okay, but here's the facts, okay? So cosmics, when you put the information out, it still is our responsibility to say it in such a way that it is the least bit offensive. But that doesn't mean we're not going to hurt somebody. And so you've got to recognize when somebody come at you with an energy, where it's coming from, cosmics, because we're going to get some energies. And you're going to have to learn how to, number one, be thick-skinned, and number two, understand where the energies are coming from, okay? Because, see, some of this information that we put out, it hurts people. And then they're going to send energies back to you unknowingly. But as long as you remembering to do it with love, then that makes it, whatever the energy coming back makes it weaker. Positivity says, okay, I broke it off with my ex because of how he treated me. Is it wrong to keep the engagement ring? Let me say something to you. Now you get into some other stuff that's not, that goes beyond the spiritual side. No, it's not wrong to keep the ring because he gave you the ring, but I would give the ring back. That's just me, because that's an energy. Because he's going to feel like you're stealing from him. Okay? I'm just letting you know. He's going to feel like you're stealing from him. And then the fact that you're not getting it back, whatever amount he's got to pay for that ring, and that's sitting on his credit, that's coming back on you. So if it means, you wearing this ring and this ring is costing you so much money, please know that it's an energy. That ring carries an energy with it, okay? I want to get into this last topic, and then we're going to get out of here. I had somebody to ask about the child. So is a child that gets molested having a return of energy? And the answer is absolutely yes. So pay attention. Pay attention, because this is the part that a lot of people don't get or understand. I've been saying here that we are gods, that you are a god. So tell me, does a god die? I'll wait. But not that long. Does a god die? No. So the problem is that we're not recognizing that we are spiritual entities. Okay, we are spiritual entities. It's not your first time here. You always were, you always will be. You always were, you always will be. So in recognizing and understanding that this is not your first time here, let's understand what a child is. A child is an old spirit coming back in a new vessel. That's all it is. Y'all want to look like, it's an innocent, it's newborn. Hate to break to you. That's your ancestor coming back up in here from the cosmos. That's who that is. That's your ancestors. So pay attention. I'm giving you the knowledge. I'm giving you the money right here. The reason why when you're living this life, they're telling you, oh, do good, be kind, show love, is because all energies, once again, must be returned. Now, you all might see people who do dirt all their life and get away with it because they some kind of way got ties into the system and they can get off of the jail time and they can hide stuff in the media. But all energies must be returned. You cannot hide from the universe. And even when you do something and you think nobody can see it, please know the universe always sees everything, 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 always. And so if you do it, know that it was seen even when you don't know you did it. Okay. So let's say we got someone who has molested children, molested children all through their life and did whatever they thought they were big and bad enough to do with whatever child. And they don't seem to get any consequences or receive the consequences for their actions. Well, let's understand this. That is a baggage, a spiritual baggage that they have created. It must be returned. It must be returned. Even if that person ends up passing, their vessel expires, but the spirit never dies. And with that spirit is spiritual baggage. And when they leave here, that baggage is still going to be waiting for them when they come back in that child's vessel. So people want to be upset. Well, what kind of God would? It's the universe that returns an energy. And until that energy has been returned, that child will know no peace. So when it comes back up in here and it's got spiritual baggage, and I get it, this is the hardest part for women to get, because I've had women tell me, I refuse to believe. Okay, but you're a God. Okay, you're a victim and a God. Okay, so why are we showing up in this dimension? Let's understand this now. We show up here because there's things we got to learn. If you're in this vessel with this flesh and this, and you don't understand what's going on, you don't know universal laws, there are things you're here because there are things you have to learn. So get the lesson. Otherwise, you're going to keep repeating this thing. Get the lesson. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So when you got a child coming up in here and they are receiving an energy, there is baggage. And I hate to tell you that because I know it seems harsh. It seems, well, I didn't know about it. Listen, we are all gods. We put out energies. Energies must be returned, period and point blank. And again, I've seen guys on the spiritual or the macroscopic level, microscopic level, and third dimensional level. And all of them have succumbed to the universal laws. So I'm giving you the laws so that you know how to govern yourself accordingly, so that when you start contracting, you can make this third dimension show up the way you want it to show up. This can be your heaven, or this will be your hell if you put hell-like energies out. So you got this being that has deceased, but it's got to come back, baby. It's got to come back. And when it comes back, that spiritual baggage is going to be waiting for it. This is just how it works. Everybody want to make it seem like it's so complicated. It's really not. All energies must be returned. And so when you have a child that's getting that, so let me give you an example, because again, you can try to protect that child. Going back to what Kelly said, you can try to protect that child. You can put your arms around them. I'm gonna hold on to it, make sure don't nobody get to it. But if the universe is returning an energy, it's going to get a return of the energy, period and point blank. There will be nothing you can do. You can try to fight all you want to, but that baggage has to be cleaned up, or that energy has to be returned. This is the law. I'm going to give you an example. You'll get a child that goes into what they call it when the child goes in adoption, or where the parent is not able to keep the child and it's gone for, let's say it's been molested at the house, and child protective services comes and takes the child, and then that child ends up in one home. Let me give a shout out to Raina. Thank you so much for the love. I really do appreciate that. So let's say you have a child that is molested at the house, and then child protective services comes in and puts that child into a foster home. Okay. And in that foster home, it gets molested again. And so they're moving from that foster home. And then what happens? It gets molested again. That's an energy. And I know it seems like, well, what kind of God would do that? It is a return of energies, and until the energies have been returned or the spiritual baggage has been cleaned up, the child not going to see peace. I'm just making it clear. Until that's cleaned up, that child is not going to see peace, because there's an energy being returned. And I need to go into this because I know this is another thing we don't speak about. We should be talking about these things. But when I see a situation, especially with a girl or a woman, and she's saying that she's had molestation or any kind of other attacks on her, in 99% of the cases, her mother also had the same thing done to her. And her mother's mother, which is her grandmother, also had the same thing done to her. And on down the line. Pay attention. This is a spiritual world and a spiritual dimension. And the universe is going to return energies until the spiritual baggage has been cleaned up. I told you several ways, especially last week when I went into understanding cleansing spiritual baggage. I've made it clear that you got to, first of all, be willing to forgive whomever did the dirt over here. And then you have to ask for forgiveness for the dirt you put out. But I don't remember. I ain't do that. Okay, God, I get it. You don't remember doing it. I get it. This is the prayer. Universe. For me, if you got a God or you want to pray to whomever you want to pray to, but for me, it's the universe, and I need to go into that too. Universe, if I have put this out to anybody in my past, I ask for forgiveness. Reveal it to me. If I'm able to go back and ask whomever it is that I've hurt in this way, I'm asking for forgiveness. And I forgive whomever it was that put this energy out on me. The minute you do that, and you are in your heart, you feel it, you will clean up your entire lineage. Your entire lineage will clean up. And this is why I talk about women, why it's so important for you to know who you are. Because they don't tell you this. So I'm going to tell you another X-Man power you have. Pay attention. When you're intact spiritually, You can change the past. When you're intact spiritually, you can change the past. And you can clean up your entire lineage going forward and backwards. This is why they don't want you to know who you are as a woman. They don't want you to know those X-Men powers. Because when you become spiritually accountable, women, you clean up the mess. You can clean up the mess. And you don't have to say nothing to him. You don't have to tell you need to stop doing this. No, just you clean up you, and he don't have a choice but to come into order. That's how it works. That's why I'm speaking to the women. See, people take offense, and sisters, I love you. So let me make sure I say that, because I don't think I give my sisters enough love on this thing. I need you to understand, when I'm giving you this information and I'm going hard on you, it's because I'm letting you know all the power starts with you. You. Don't nothing come into this dimension unless it comes through you. Ain't no baby daddy unless you say yes. All this stuff about men doing what men do, no, you clean up you, and he's gonna act right because he don't have a choice. Okay, so the bottom line here, women, is that you got to understand that you hold the power, and all you got to do is clean up you. You don't have to be telling him what to do. You don't have to do nothing. I'm gonna clean up me. Once you get clean, he gonna be like, oh, well, shoot, I better act right. Let me go up to her like a different way. Because remember, he is only your reflection. He is only your reflection. If he's showing up in your third dimension, it's because you called him. The only thing you calling to you is who you are. The only thing you call to you is who you are, not what you want to be, not what you think you are. No, if it's showing up, he's reflecting you. He's telling you, oh, this is what you really look like. So if you don't like what he's reflecting, change you, and he's going to disappear, and somebody else will show up who looks like what you want to look like. All right. Do I have any other questions before I get out of here? I hope you found this information well. If I offended anybody, let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let's have a consultation. I love doing this. Crow says, sometimes you get what you absorb into yourself, regardless of actions. If you catch guilt and feel it deeply, people will respond to it. I'm not sure what you're saying there, but okay. What's your way of life, religion, etc.? Thank you, Mirski. For me, I don't have a religion. All right. I follow universal law, cosmic laws. And so what you see here is my religion. And how I walk is everything is about kindness, compassion, love, honor, integrity, respect. Those are the principles of UNA. Kindness, compassion, love, honor, integrity, respect. So I'm not concerned about what your religion is. If it's Buddhism or all of these laws apply to everybody. Doesn't matter what your religion is. Doesn't matter. Male or female, black, white, Jew, Gentile, doesn't matter. All of these laws apply equally. Thank you for that question. If that's true about black community that was destroyed by Raina is asking a question about the black community, the so-called black community. Let me talk about the black community real quick. They're not victims. All right. Remember, I talked about how we're all gods, and then how we are reflecting each other. Okay, watch this now. See, they want to tell you this, and this is the danger about people telling lies about history and then feeding you lies. So we have been told that melanated people come into this land by slavery and slave boats. Meanwhile, we got all kind of legal documentation showing that the original people are the people who they call in black, Negro, colored, slave, colored, and any other kind of title. Those people are the original people of the land, the so-called Indians. That's all the legal titles are showing. Then we don't respect the fact that there was other melanated people that came into this land who were from another place. Did you know that those people used to be called white? They was darker than this shirt right here that I'm wearing. They was darker than this shirt, but they were called white. Why? Because white has nothing to do with skin color. White has to do with the status. Now, I'm telling you all this because I got to preface this because some people don't know. But when we're talking about white and the people who came into this land, we're talking about Moors, Tunis, Algiers, Tripoli, Montezuma, even British Moors and Moors from other places. They were coming into the land, but what's not being understood is these people partook in enslavement all the time. That's all they did was they go and kidnap the Albions and then they put them in slavery. Look up Moorish bathhouses. Okay, this is where Moors would take women, Albion women in particular, as slaves. And then they'd sex them. They go in, they put them in bathhouses, they go in and out of the bathhouses, sex them at will. All right, not to mention they would kidnap children, Albion children from other lands and bring them into this land and enslave them, discombobulated them, messed up their whole society. They kidnapped so many people, the society couldn't even exist anymore. This is what Moors, melanated people did. Pay attention. Pay attention. Melanated people did this to Albions. First, that's how they got into this land. They don't tell you how so many Albions got into this land. They want to, oh, you came here by state. Well, how so many of them get over here? Yeah, why they ain't talk about that? Because there's a whole bunch of them over. Why we don't know about that? Well, they know. They was enslaved. There was a lot of Albion slaves even in the mid-1800s. That's not being talked about. Okay, now watch this now. I just told you, anytime you put out an energy, it must come back. And let's be clear, in the mid-1800s and 1700s to the mid-1800s, there was a lot of melanated people in this place fighting. The Indians was fighting each other. Then they had to fight the British that came in here. Then they had to fight the other Moors that came in here, the elite Moors who created the United States of America. And then they had to fight with, and so they telling you all these people were Albion when the quote forefathers, those melanated people. They're not telling you about those, they're not telling you about the presidents before Washington. They're not even telling you that Washington was melanated. They're not telling you that Lincoln was melanated. And everybody in between them was melanated. They're not telling you about the melanated people in here. So you thinking it was all white people running this. Meanwhile, back in the 1700s, melanated people owned land and slaves and banks. And they was bankers and lawyers and judges, doctors. But they didn't tell you about that. When you just think everybody came over here as a slave, that's not how it happened. So fast forward, then you start seeing a change, because at one time the Albion was at the bottom and they were mistreated. Pay attention now. That's these laws coming into effect. Nobody escapes these laws. But if you are righteous, then you can use these laws to work for you. So they was on the bottom, Albions, but then it flipped. When did it flip? Mid-1800s. Mid-1800s, Albions start getting on top, and now you start to see the melanated people on the bottom. And then now, because at one point, look, remember, melanated people used to have bus companies. They used to have, I don't know if they had airline companies, but we had melanated people was running things, had our own sports agencies and facilities and all this other stuff. Then it switched. Now the Albion's on top. And now you want to run to do whatever the Albion does. And now the Albion has the opportunity to put you down like you doing them today. Pay attention, because there's a shift going on right now. So pay attention. Because right now, they were on top. There's a shift going. Y'all feel it? You feel it? Now you get to either show spiritual maturity towards them, or you get to step on them. It's coming. You feeling it. You can see it all over. Everywhere you look, you see how melanated people are starting to treat Albions. You see it. So you got to make a decision on whether you want to be back in this place and be disrespected again, or now that you're on top, how you gonna treat them? Okay, going back here. So the Albion gets to take control now because they were disrespected. And now you see them inward, and they're giving all this negative energy to melanated people. And you thinking it's just happenstance, or these just evil people. But they're giving you a return of energy, because the same way the man is a reflection of the woman, the Albion is a reflection of the melanated people, because they come from you. They come from melanated people. Let's be clear about that. So if you want to know what happened to them Moors that was kidnapping and doing all, go look in the prison industrial complex. Go. That's going to tell you where they are. This is not happenstance that melanated people are ending up in this energy. If you want to clear the energy, you got to clear the spiritual baggage. And if you still thinking you're a victim, let me be clear on this. You're on top now. It's your turn. It's going to be your turn to be on the bottom again if you put that same energy out again. I hope this is clear. I'm making it as clear as I can make it, because nobody is respecting these universal laws, and you just thinking you're a victim up in here. And I just got here. No, you a God. You've been here. Always were, always will be. You're just in a new vessel. So now I'm telling you what the laws are. Get them so that you can go on to a higher level. Go to a higher level. Don't keep recycling in this and then coming back in hell and then blaming the universe and blaming God and blaming the Albion and blame. No, come on now. We can get up out of this, but you got to be spiritually accountable. All right. I'm going to get up out of here. I want y'all to know I love you. I really do appreciate you. I thank you so much. I hope this information found you well. We're going to see you on next Friday. All right, sisters, I love you. Brothers, I love you. Get these laws so we can go to a next level. Give me a hug. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.